On that note, hey guys, welcome to Notorious Women Podcast. I'm Lavetta.
And I'm Miriam.
And this is Notorious Women, a comedy podcast about some of history's most notorious women.
Yes. Okay.
Oh God, I'm hanging in there. My hot girl summer hasn't quite started yet, but
listen, it's not summertime yet, so you have some time. I don't care if it's 90 degrees out. The June 21st girl. When does this come out? Oh, I don't know.
It won't be June yet. No, it hasn't gotten here yet. I fell off track.
So much time. And also, like, you're hot girl spring right now. Okay? Okay, there's like flowers surrounding your aura. I can see it. Little rain, not a lot because California, but you know.
Hot girl spring.
Yeah, I just invented that and I'm patenting it, patent pending. So don't try to use it because it's mine.
I will take that. Well, I guess we should get started on that note. I believe this week you are first, my dear.
Is me?
It's
my
you.
God. I'm a winner.
You. Yes. What is who's your notorious woman this week for me?
Okay, listen.
Tell me about.
I went down the rabbit hole and I'm so excited. I'm a little too excited.
Okay.
Have you heard of Gwen Shamblin Lara?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Shamblin sounds like a made up name that a Southern person would make up to sound fancy.
All right. Well, it's funny. You're kind of creeping into the truth here. So here, listen, there's a whole documentary that HBO did on this woman that I deep dived in. Now, I did all my research beforehand, before watching the documentary. And then I was like, well, let me just turn on the documentary, to fulfill. I watched the whole thing last night.
Wait a minute, is this the lady that has a $100 million house in Florida, or is it the lady with the crazy hair?
Crazy hair, girl. Crazy hair.
Okay, I know I have her image in my head, but I don't know anything about her. So this is going to be good.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Okay, let me start out. Let me be calm. Okay. Here we go. So they don't really know much about her before she went to college. Like, she was born February 18th, 1955, born and raised in Tennessee. I managed to find her father's name is Walter Henley, who was a doctor. I cannot find who her mother is. I know that she earned an undergrad degree in dietetics and a master's degree in food and nutrition with an emphasis in biochemistry from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. So she was a registered dietitian, a consultant, and a faculty member at Memphis State University for 5 years. Like, this all sounds kind of boring, right? She also worked in the city's Tennessee Department of Health for 5 years.
Okay.
It's fine. So she happened to be raised in a Church of Christ family, which happens to be strict about not letting women be leaders in the church. That's like, just like put that little nugget like in your brain for later.
Okay. It's in there.
All right. Just put it in, let it stew. All right. So in 1978, she married David Shamblin, and they had 2 children, Michael and Elizabeth. Okay. So in 1980, she began a weight control consulting practice. Doesn't that sound like it's a real thing? Mm-hmm. I'll go on. So she apparently had struggled with her weight in college, and she counseled, after all that education, that genetics, metabolism, and behavior modifications did not explain why some people stayed thin and other people were overweight. So our girl here founded the Weigh Down Workshop. Weigh as in how much do you weigh? Weight, weigh down. See what they did there?
I see what she did there. Yep. Okay. I see it.
So it was a weight loss program with no food restrictions, no exercise regimens, no weigh-ins, no calorie counting, which started in 1986. That sounds good, right?
So it's like the anti-Weight Watchers.
Was it though? Okay. Right. Yeah. Like you think it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So experts were like a little bit concerned that it eliminated exercise and it didn't suggest like some nutrient dense foods, like, but that's fine. So as she was developing the Way Down workshop, she got her master's degree at Memphis State University. So as part of a counseling center, she hosted the first class in a mall in Memphis, Tennessee. So it was a Way Down workshop class.
Okay.
They were offered as small classes in retail settings and like non-religious settings. So you can imagine where I'm going with this.
Yeah, this sounds very like Weight Watchers, curves.
Right. Like women come to me, I have the answer. Right.
Yeah.
So she began hosting the program at Bellevue Baptist Church near Memphis in the 90s. So, yeah, that's going to be good. So the program was a 12-week seminar guided by video and audio tapes, which featured her, obviously. So by 1994, the program was offered in about 600 churches in 35 states. 1995, more than 1,000 churches in 49 states, Great Britain and Canada. 1996, more than 5,000 churches.
Damn.
Cool. Yeah. And like 10% of this was in her home state of Tennessee. So like basically
spread quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So in 1996, the Way Down workshop had a staff of 40. They built a headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee, and she began hosting an annual summer convention, a desert oasis in the Nashville area. So in August of 1998, the workshop hosted more than 21,000 classes with more than 250,000 participants worldwide. So she got some criticism for using Christianity in like her label while she built her business. So she was connecting losing weight with the Lord. Yeah. It only gets better. It only gets better.
So basically, instead of like a prosperity preacher, she's a weight loss preacher.
Yeah, because you know.
I got you.
You gotta get a gimmick if you want to get ahead. I don't think those were the notes to that song. But anyways.
I was politely ignoring that. So.
Thank you for being a friend. I won't start singing that song, but thank you. Okay, so in 1997, she wrote a best-selling book called The Way Down Diet. It sold more than 1.2 million copies. So she teaches in this book, and it's a book, so you can read it. I'm not going to lie right now because I can vouch for it. So it teaches that the love of food should be transferred to a love of God. So you cut your food portions in half and you only eat when you're hungry. So that sounds fine, right?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah. All right. I mean, like, I disagree, but like, okay, do you? But I'm going to keep talking. So in this book, she writes how she hates her body. She writes how her body is the worst. She couldn't control herself. Listen, if you like look at pictures of her, she probably was fine and just like hated her body because she was told to hate her body, you know?
Right.
So she says from the book, only feed the stomach when it growls or burns. Burns. Yeah. Okay. Some more fun facts from the book. She says, you'll enjoy making food for your family and not eating it. So, and she gives you tips on how to distract your family from the fact that you actually aren't eating.
So she's preaching a eating disorder?
What? What'd you say? What?
It sounds like allegedly. It sounds like it, as someone who has struggled with like 99.5% of women, body issues, and like we wanted to be skinny, especially when you're younger. Not eating works.
Yeah, it does. It does. It'll also kill you, right? You'll die, but you'll be real thin, right?
You'll be real thin.
I mean, or even not, but you'll definitely like have some organ trouble.
But you also learn that not eating does work, but it's not sustainable.
It's not. So in the book, she also explains that people have zero excuse not to lose weight. And she gives examples. She says, like, maybe if your child is dying or you've been out of work for over a year, you can still lose weight. I said that. I did. I said that.
Okay.
You would look at it in the book. And then when it comes to your children, well, we have to raise the next generation to never be fat, right?
Right.
So she suggests ways of convincing your children that they're not hungry, and to like, you just put their food away. Just be like, you're not actually hungry. I'm going to put it here in a bag. And then you distract them so that they forget that you're starving, that their parent is starving them.
She wrote this down.
And so basically she wrote this down and sold it and was a bestseller. That's why you got to question when bestsellers are bestsellers, you know? Just open the mind, right? So her theory is basically like, you only eat when you cannot function. So you should enjoy that feeling of empty. She's very big on that. Enjoy that feeling of empty. And then as soon as you're full, stop. And if God forbid, get it? Because she does this through churches. I made a joke. God, get it? See what I did there? You want food like outside of those parameters? You just drop down to your knees and pray. Right?
Pray the hunger away.
Pray the hunger away. So like a good Christian would care more about God than like silly material things like sustenance. Right?
Right. Of course. That makes sense to me.
Right? Okay. And she says you have to reach God's hunger point in order to allow yourself to eat. Cool. So, and then, there's this YouTube channel called Fundy Fridays, and I love her so much. And her response to the book was this: reads like the ramblings of starving mad woman. And I had to share that because that's funny.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So she had an interview with Larry King where she talked about how she was once 20 pounds overweight, even though she was exercising like a fiend, and she tried to throw it up, but it didn't work. So she ended up with this. Like, no explanation, nothing. Just like, yeah, that was fine. And let's talk about the fact that nobody was calling her out. Nobody was like,
was the 90s. The 90s were wild. We're finding out. Like, they were wild.
They were crazy. Okay, so then she gets crazier. Ready? All alleged, but other people have proven it. So here we are. She built a faith-based diet empire to create her own church. So she was doing all this through churches and then decided she wanted her own church. It's called the Remnant Fellowship Church in Franklin, Tennessee in 1999. And then she created a building in Brentwood, Tennessee, 40 acres. In 2004, it was done. So around this time, she also decided to change her tune as to the basic foundation of her Christian belief and what like her followers should believe. So, okay, listen, this Jewish girl cannot claim to know much. Okay, that's me. I'm me. That's me. So she sends an email to her followers saying that she believed that the doctrine of the Trinity was not biblical on August 10th, 2000. So she was changing Christian doctrine that had been agreed upon by like all of Christianity for thousands of years. She was like, no, I don't want to.
as someone who was raised at Southern Baptist, the Holy Trinity is pretty fundamental to
I mean,
Christianity.
as far as I know, I don't know much, but I know that.
Yeah.
So she was really big on like a hierarchy where God is on top. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to go into those details, but that's what happened. And all I know is that the churches were pissed, and some evangelical churches dropped her program. They canceled the publication of her next book. She was removed from the Women of Faith website, and some of her employees left. Now, there's a theory that she was looking, but she didn't care. She doubled down because she was building her own church, remember?
Yeah.
So she didn't need other churches.
Well, apparently she did to run that program.
Well, I'll go on. Here we go. So she was trying to set herself apart. It caused a massive stir. So what happened as well is that she had this business the way down headquarters, and there was a phone counselor and who loved her and wanted and believed in her, but was then instructed that this was a business and she was there to sell, and the churches were just the outlet. So she left, and then other people sued her because her employees were a couple of employees sued her because they accused her of forcing them to go to Remnant Church. So the lawsuit settled, and everything is alleged. Alleged. It's all alleged. Okay. So she also, upon selling her theory, kept referring to the Holocaust, just like over and over again. Then she denied it, but I mean, there's video. I've seen a lot of video.
Wait a minute. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
why did I say Holocaust?
She denied referring to the Holocaust, or denied the Holocaust?
No. She did not deny the Holocaust. This was the 90s. We weren't doing that yet.
Okay.
She would use the Holocaust. So she would talk about how the Jewish people were in camps getting starved and they lost weight. Hashtag goals.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know. Like, take a minute because it's hard to process what I just said. Yeah.
So when we see pictures of the Holocaust, we're horrified, full of empathy and
sadness
and anger. She sees, oh wow, fabulous waist. Really?
They're hot. There's a quote from her that has apparently been wiped from the internet, but somewhat. So I got this from Fundy Fridays. She goes, "This is the quote: How in the Holocaust did you have all these people getting down real skinny? They eat less food." Then, yeah.
Ew,
so well, I know,
that's just gross.
I know, it's real bad. And multiple people gave her several chances to clarify or explain herself. And she just, apparently she made it worse. I'm going to read an interview. Are you ready? Yeah. So Gwen says, when people are in prison camps and eat less food, they lost weight. All of them. The interviewer tries to clarify. Miss Shamblin, are you sure? Surely you're not making comparison between the force of starvation of a population and middle-class Americans' eating habits. Are you honestly doing that? Gwen responds, I have been for 15 years, and a lot of people have responded. She justifies her despicable, dangerous, terrible eating plan by saying that some of those Jews survived.
How? I'm just so...
Yeah.
How can you be this dumb?
Yeah.
And this loud and make this much money? Because I'm assuming she made a lot of money.
Girl, she made so much money. Okay. Like, yeah. Okay.
So what you're saying is I'm too smart. We're too smart.
Yes.
And too quiet. And that's the reason we haven't made gobs of money.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, I was talking to Sal about maybe starting my own church. I don't know what the hook will be because I don't know, like weight loss is like my jam, but like, I don't know, something Like, if you say this Shakespeare, God will love you and you'll go to heaven. Give me $1 million. Yeah? No? All right.
I just don't understand. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So this church is starting. There is a whole, this is basically people would join the church. It was about weight loss. If you lost weight, you were successful. People would go up there. People would cry and be proud of you. If you were seen, there was a lot of like fat shaming. And basically people were starving, right? And you had to, it was more than just showing up on Sundays. She created this sort of compound where she would convince everyone to like work for her. And so everyone was working with everyone else. And so there was this bubble. Also, like there was like some solid Jewish appropriation happening. Like that was fun.
Well, it sounds like a cult, allegedly.
It does allegedly sound like a very solid cult.
And of course, she's going to bring in more Jewish. Of course, she's going to appropriate.
Yep.
If she used the Holocaust and be like,
appropriation.
look how thin they got. What?
And you see like some videos of like Jewish weddings where they're on the chair. She uses that. They have a Passover service with like Hebrew letters. I'm like, y'all, no. And so also like here, fun little quick fact. She lived in a plantation house. Just thought you would like that.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
And the people who went to the church would like dress alike. They would act alike. Their children would dress similarly. And the way they dressed their children was like turn of the century, like white frill. Like boys look like little Fauntleroy, who was adorable. I loved that book. Like it was very kind of archaic. Is that the word? You also were not allowed.
Little House on the Prairie-ish.
Like even before that. No, yeah, yes, but like fancy.
Okay.
Fancy.
Okay.
You could not go to therapy. You could not have meds, and you had to be happy all the time.
Yeah, this sounds like allegedly a cult.
Yep. I allegedly agree.
Wow.
Okay. So there was a whole thing. She has 2 children, Elizabeth and Michael. Now I could go watch the whole thing. It's so good. I could get into detail, but what a good example of how they ran things was at one point her daughter had not a miscarriage. Her youngest baby died of SIDS, and awful, right? Terrible. And she essentially swept it under the rug. Nobody was to talk about it. But behind closed doors, there are people who've come out and said that they were called to get counseled, was I think the word that they used, which just meant kind of yelled, like nobody wanted that because that was terrifying. To see who did the wrong thing to piss off God in order to hurt that child. Like they basically quietly blamed the congregation.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. So her grandchild died of SIDS.
Yes.
And she came back to the congregation and basically accused them from the pulpit of either praying for the child's demise or not praying enough and being
not
faithful
praying, just
enough.
Not being. Yeah. Now, from what I gather, it was never talked about like in public. And then outside of it, you'd get a phone call or you'd get like, hey, you need to come talk to us. And they'd be like, well, what have you been doing? Well, like, have you been living a truly sinless life? Like, are you eating too much? Like, what are you doing to cause this terrible thing?
So if somebody have a pork chop,
oh no.
that's the reason that the child died.
Yeah.
Not because they didn't take the child to the hospital or because unfortunately
bad
child
things sometimes happen
to babies. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm still with you. Okay.
So speaking of children, this is where it gets extra good. I don't mean good. Let's be real. she was very big into how you discipline your children. She was huge into that. And she encouraged spanking to a degree where, quote her, if they're not scared of a spanking, you haven't spanked them. If you haven't really spanked them yet, then you don't love them. You love yourself. And there's like, you know, a moment where like a 2-year-old got so spanked that probably traumatized. And she used that as an example of how to discipline your child. I bet you she didn't talk back anymore. And this was a 2-year-old. So this woman sucks. I'll just say it. Sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one.
So
this woman is not only, I'm sorry, this woman is not only an idiot, she's heartless, creepy, weird, and perfect for a cult leader. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
so,
go ahead.
So there was a whole thing. Like, this is so, like, I could go on for days, but I won't. But okay. So there was a whole lot of accusations made against her and the church for years about a lot of things. Now, one of which was child abuse. There was a thing that happened to an 8-year-old boy named Joseph, and his parents were members, and they had a really hard time with him. And it's like a long, awful story, but ultimately that child died. And when the coroner analyzed the body, the child died of child abuse. Like, that was the final and so the parents were put on trial, and then the church was analyzed. Now, they weren't able to find anything from the church itself, or at least enough to actually say that the church encourages this. Right. But what we do know is that the church paid for the parents' defense, you know, lots of money. And we also know that they do that a lot. They will try to defend. Now, I will say, okay, that the HBO docuseries tells you that there is a response that they finally did hear from Remnant Church, because Remnant Church had nothing to do with the documentary. But they did post a response on their website. So I went to their website. So now they're stalking me. And basically, I can't even read the deny. They deny everything, literally everything. They deny all of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's just too much to deny. But if you ask them, they're body positive, LGBTQIA supporting, gentle parenting, anti-racist. Like, that's what they say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, yeah, cool. So they also have members sign custody of their children over to the church in their will.
No.
Yeah. And when divorce happens in the church, and they have their own lawyers, and they will use those lawyers to fight for the parent who's staying in the church to keep the kid. And they attempt to separate the kids from the family that's left. It's all alleged. Everything is alleged. Alleged.
Of course.
So the investigation didn't turn up anything. But yeah, it's alleged. Okay, so she had a hard stance against divorce until she changed her mind about her own marriage. And in 2018, she divorced her first husband. And 2 months later, she married her second husband, Joe Lara. And the wedding was in the church that was paid for by church members. And some church members did not like it. Especially because Joe was overweight.
Of course. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
And that, I mean, the whole Joe and Gwen thing is like long and complex, but also like a little hilarious. They had their own YouTube channel, and Joe like was an actor. He played Tarzan in Manhattan. Remember the movie in like 1980 something? That he was Tarzan. So.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Okay. May 29th, 2021. Gwen and 6 church leaders, including her husband, Joe, her son-in-law, Brandon, and a couple of other people who were church leaders, went into a private jet bound for Palm Beach, Florida, and crashed, and they all died.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were headed to a MAGA event in Florida.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I did not expect you to say that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I mean, we respect all life, but wow. I mean, for people who really want to place blame when bad things happen on your actions, I just find, I don't know. I'll let you all fill in the blank of what I'm thinking. What is interesting is that, and this woman had gazillions of dollars. She left nothing to the church.
You shut your mouth. Shut
cannot.
your mouth.
It all went to her kids. Not a dime.
But wasn't the church hers?
I mean, yeah. How she made her money.
Shut the front door. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
And the church is like, no. She built the building. This building is worth $10 million. She's essentially given us, but she had so much more money.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Again,
wow.
all that is part of the denial letter. Deny. Their reaction to all the things. You could go on the website. I don't know how much you want to traffic this website. The church is still running. I don't think that they're like listening to our podcast or anything.
What did she die of?
Like plane crash.
Oh,
Like,
I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But like, apparently there was a whole thing because Joe used to like fly planes, and he hadn't in a long time. But then his new wife was able to pay for like, upgrading the flight, like certifications or whatever you need, and like getting a fancy new plane. So
after all of that,
like,
she married a fat man.
but she starved him. So like later on in the YouTube series, he's skinny again.
Oh, he's skinny again. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I was like, is that worth it? I don't know that that's worth it. Millions of dollars, but you can't enjoy food ever again.
I know.
Think
listen, I'm not fat shaming because I have been every size between a 4 and a 14. So I think you have to love people no matter what size they are. And if people suddenly gain weight, then usually that's indicative of something else. But I'm definitely not like a body shamer or whatever. But I just find it so odd that she's so fixated on being skinny, and her second husband is larger. And then of course she starved the poor man to death. I'm with you. Like, I don't know if it's worth living in $1 million homes if I can't have pork chops.
I don't think so. If I can't have like delicious pork chops made by that's what you use your money for. That's what I use my money for. The fancy food.
Or fancy food, and like you feel satiated. I mean, everybody has different relationships with food, but I'm with you. I don't think it's worth it to live in a fancy house if I can't enjoy yogurt.
Well, you can enjoy a bite of yogurt.
No, or I can't
full.
go to the fridge when I'm hungry and
it's really interesting because
eat a whole yogurt.
They really deep dive. It's called The Way Down on HBO, the docuseries, where they interview a lot of people who left, and they talk about how like their bodies were very damaged. Like I just want to be clear, like if it's just, I didn't trigger a warning, but like, if you have weight stuff, like one woman talks about how her kidneys aren't functional in the correct way anymore. Because starving yourself has massive.
Starving yourself is not good. That is why when you're lost in a jungle or crashed on an island and you're starving, people start eating people. Hello, Yellow Jackets. Yeah. I'm just saying. Listen. People start looking delicious.
But if you think about it, it's a great way to control people. They're hungry.
Yeah.
They're not, I mean, look how the society makes women care more about what size they are than like the state of the world we live in. You know what I mean? Like,
or
it's
the
a
state of their
great
own
distraction.
bodies, as long as it looks a certain way, as long as it's
Exactly.
thin.
And I mean, when I was nursing 2 babies, I got really thin, but I was exhausted and I actually had an injury. And I remember getting all these compliments and being like, I feel like shit. Like, I wish I had more weight and I didn't feel as bad.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to do it. It was just that was my body chemistry doing what it does. I just want to say one more thing about this. Alleged. It's all alleged. Everything is alleged. But you can look it up because it's fascinating. It's allegedly fascinating.
Yes. Oh my God. Say her name one more time.
Gwen Shamblin Lara.
Yeah, that
she
sounds
is notorious.
And she's got notorious hair. Check out that hair. I'm like, see, that's another thing. I'm vain. I'm vain. Okay. Like a lot of people. And I think it's good to be vain because I could not follow a cult leader who looked the way she looked. I don't care if she was
that would
skinny.
be my problem.
I'd be like,
why?
Like, why? If you don't have good judgment in your hair, I don't think you have good judgment in teaching me anything.
In some of the interviews, they actually fully talk about her hair, and they're like, she was really obsessed with her hair. Really obsessed.
She was obsessed with her hair, and that's what she came out of the salon looking like. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. Not to be like that. I'm being a bitch, but girl.
I mean, I'm sorry. She ruined lots of people's lives, so it's okay. Well, it's okay.
Also because
allegedly it ruined a lot of people's lives. Yeah, that's what I said.
That's how delusional she was that she could look in the mirror and be like, good. No, girl, no. I'm just saying.
Oh, man. I mean, whew.
Thank you for sharing, Gwen. My notorious woman this week is a woman named Lisa Nowak. I think I'm saying
Lisa
right.
Nowak.
Nowak.
Okay.
You know who this is, but I'm going to get to it.
I do. Okay.
Lisa Nowak was born Lisa Marie Caputo in Washington, D.C. on May 10th, 1963 to Alfredo Caputo, a computer consultant, and Jane L. Caputo, a biological specialist. So she, solidly upper middle class family, Washington, D.C. area in the 60s. Now, she was the oldest of 3 girls, and she grew up, even though she was born in D.C., she grew up in Rockville, Maryland.
Everyone who's born in DC is growing up in Virginia or Maryland that's a very general statement I just made, but every story I hear.
Now, when she was about 6 in 1969, she watched the Apollo moon mission and became interested in the space program. Okay. And so she became obsessed with everything space, particularly in 1978 when they introduced female astronauts. So
that
she
was
basically
not till 1978.
1978.
Yeah.
So that is basically why. So she basically was like a science and space nerd before it was cool, because now it's cool, but back then it was not cool.
You were like the one girl in the back of science class being better than everybody else. Yeah.
Now in high school, she was a scholar athlete. She was named Student Athlete of the Year and graduated as a co-valedictorian. So she was a smarty pants. So it's no surprise that her final year, she was accepted at Brown University, which is an Ivy League school, and the Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Her parents thought Brown was a better choice, obviously, because it's an Ivy, but she felt like that Annapolis offered her a chance of achieving her dream of becoming an astronaut.
Okay, I can
by
see
going
that.
to the Naval Academy. So that's where she went. She thought it was a better fit. So she went off to Annapolis. Now, Annapolis only started admitting women in 1976.
Wow. Sorry.
So by the time she got there in 81, so it was only 5 years old. They had only started accepting women 5 years previous.
So she was like the other girl. on campus?
Well, so there were other women in there, but only about each of her 4 classes. So it was only about 6% of the student body. Women made up 6%. But I mean, I know it depends on how big it is. Because when I was in college, the black population was only 5%, 4%, I think.
Oof. That is
yeah. So now female cadets were still harassed by male classmates in the 80s, and occasionally a male professor would inform the women out loud that he did not think women belonged in the class. Of course, yeah. Little lady brains can't take it.
That's true. That professor's dick was small. Anyways, go on.
So she pushed through and she graduated from undergrad in 1985 with a BS degree in aeronautical engineering.
Wow.
And because she graduated with her bachelor's, she was commissioned as an ensign in the United States Navy. So her first assignment, she chose a 6-month secondment to Johnson Space Center, where she worked as an aerospace engineer at a base near Houston, Texas. But she soon moved on to the Naval Air Station in Pensacola in Florida for flight training.
Cool.
Now, even at this time, so it's 85, by law, women were still banned from combat assignments. So
that's right.
Yeah. So half of the jobs in the Navy were unavailable to women, regardless of aptitude or ability. And there were doubts about the wisdom of training women for these jobs that were not permitted for them. So it's basically limiting their opportunities because of
people were good with
discrimination.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, getting accepted into flight training was a major achievement. And the women who did it, so it was a major achievement on the one hand. So you're proud of yourself, but they also had to contend with the men who resented being passed over by a woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But like most women, Lisa just blocked that out and did the best she could and kept excelling.
That story is still being told. Girl, keep going. That's what I say.
Yeah, and it's that thing where you're only here because you're a woman, and it's like, no, I'm here because I'm qualified, but the men can't. Yeah. Anyway, so in 1990, she entered graduate school where she earned a few advanced degrees. And in 1996, she finally achieved her dream of becoming an astronaut, at least a little bit step closer to that. So becoming an astronaut, I had no idea. Like, you not only have to get degrees and usually be in the armed forces, but there's a lot of training on top of having several advanced degrees, as well as having been in the military.
So I'm not close to becoming an astronaut, is what you're saying. Okay.
So it's not just a matter of getting a bachelor's degree or even just one master's degree in, like, let's say engineering, and then becoming an astronaut. No, you have to get a master's, at least 2, in different forms of science, depending on what role you're serving on the crew. And you also have to have military experience. So that's good to know that the people going to space are this smart, I think.
I really actually like that makes sense to me because, my God, like, don't throw me into space. I won't know how to get back. No.
Exactly.
I'll be here waiting for you.
A passenger flight. But so
I just want to go on a trip somewhere. I'm tired. Anyways.
I know, right? So in 95, so she was, so in 96, I mean, she was inducted into the NASA astronaut program along with 34 other students. So in 1996, there were 35 students, including Lisa. And it was a class of 96, the 16th group of NASA astronauts. And it was the largest since the first class of the space shuttle astronauts in 1978.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're about 18 years out. And so this is great. Everything is going well for Lisa. Shortly after she had been dating all along, but she's very, very focused. But shortly after getting into this program, she and her husband, Richard, a fellow naval officer, moved to Texas. So she began her astronaut training. Again, it takes several years, even with astronaut training. And she and
I
her
didn't even
husband
know that.
began.
Okay.
I didn't know that either. Began a family once he was in the Navy, so he was moving around, but he finally got settled down. Especially once it could have been like a financial thing, because despite what people think, the armed forces don't pay as well as you think they should.
Yeah, they
And
don't.
so I'm imagining, I don't know if there's like a stipend that comes. I would imagine there's some sort of stipend or something, but they also decided to start a family. So he was stationed in Texas, so he didn't travel. He didn't get deployed away.
Oh, that's
So
good.
yeah, so they were together and as a family. And he got an assignment near in the same city so they could be more settled. Now, in December of 2002, she finally got word. So from 96 to 2002, she's been training to go to space.
Oh my God. Wow.
But just in simulations,
Right.
training, physical training. But she finally got an astronaut. She got an assignment that her mission would be. So she got in December of 2002. She got word that her mission would be in November. In November of the of 2003. So basically 11 months to train so in 11 months she's going to space. That was in 2002.
But she's been training for like 100 years at this point.
Yeah.
I know I'm good at the math, so I'm right.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But tragically, the Columbia disaster happened 3 months later in February of 2003.
Oh,
So
I
that
forgot
pushed
about
that pushed a whole bunch of stuff up. So that meant that they probably were not going to deploy in November of 2003, so later that year. But they still buckled down. And it was also personally devastating because a few of her classmates from that 1996 class were on the Columbia. So
that's got to be so hard and also scary.
Yep.
Dude.
Now, around this time, so we're in 2002, 2003, she became close with a fellow astronaut, a man by the name of William Oefelein. Okay. It's Oefelein. Oefelein?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oefelein?
Maybe Oefelein. During a training course. So again, more training courses. That was in Canada in 2004. So 2003 is a lot of that tragedy, recovering, and she's still training. Now, when the two returned back from Canada, they began an affair. He was also married. Yeah, he was also married. And this affair went on. And so much that his wife, William's wife, found a series of emails between he and Lisa. So she filed for divorce, and he was divorced by May of 2005.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the wife is like, I am out of here. See you. Wouldn't want to be you. Peace. Now, after the divorce, William moved into a small apartment, which he gave Lisa a key. She left personal effects there. So it's almost like they were dating, even though she was still married.
Yeah.
So
okay,
they had a pretty ongoing. Basically, she was living in an open marriage. Basically, that's what it seems like.
As long as he's okay.
She had a husband and a boyfriend.
I mean, girl, get it?
Listen, that is the dream. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a very faithful woman.
I'm happily married, and he might still be in this house right now. So that's what I have to say about that.
Lisa was getting in there. She's like, I'm an astronaut. I got a husband and I got a boyfriend. So
listen, that actually sounds really exhausting to me. I'll be totally honest with you. I would not want that. I would want not that.
And children.
I'd be like, no.
By the time her and her husband had children. Yeah. That sounds exhausting to me too.
Yeah, no.
Now,
I just want to read a book. I'm cheating on you with a book in a coffee shop. And I used a fake name so no one could call me. Okay.
But basically, she and William had a relationship because even his other residents in his apartment complex knew her by sight.
Okay.
So things continue on this way. She's still, they're still working on towards their hopefully eventual trip to space. So now. Right. So the crew, so she's part of this crew. William's so they're on the same crew. And then shortly after, another former classmate from that 1996 class, a woman by the name of Stephanie Wilson, a sister, a Black woman, joined the group.
Okay.
And it was about 6 crew members total. So, and also I think it's one of the reasons that they all train together, because they're going to go to space, just as they work as like a team. Yeah.
It's kind of like theater, you're going to rehearse with the people you're on stage with. See how that probably doesn't make sense to most astronauts, but it makes sense to us.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Like you get to know each other and so you're in it together. Now, the crew kept studying and working towards the goal of flight. And finally, on July 1st, Independence Day, or Independence Weekend, 2006, Lisa, William, and the rest of the crew of the Discovery crew, so theirs was Discovery, went to space. It's very successful. And all in all, they spent 12 days and 18 hours and 36 minutes in space. In which they traveled 8 million kilometers, 5 million miles. So everything went well. They ran a couple of tests. They did some walks. Everything went really, really well. And the Discovery landed back at Kennedy Space Center on July 17. So everything is great. So back on Earth, the crew members did press and they were considered heroes. They attended the Olympics. Yeah. They did interviews, traveled the world as guest speakers. It was just a phenomenal feat. Basically the culmination of a childhood dream come true.
That's amazing.
Great. In 2000, and that was 2006. Now, but soon after coming back and adjusting to life as sort of like a celebrity and science celebrity. And
I mean, listen, I would want to be a celebrity after that. Because that freaks me out. That sounds, literally leaving the planet. I can't. Oh my God. I was not designed to go to space.
No. Oh, I want to go to space so bad. I want to go to space so bad. Like
you should. I encourage you. I know that. Totally, like that freaks me out.
Oh my God, that sounds so amazing.
I don't like staring underwater for too long. Like the abyss really freaks me out.
You don't understand. I would be. Obviously, it'd have to be something safe, but I would be so happy taking a trip to space.
Listen, you make that money, girl, and you can.
I would be so happy. So, but back on Earth, she has to get back to her life. Now, again, Lisa and William have been having an affair since basically 2004. Right?
Okay.
Basically 2004. Yeah. It's 2007 now.
I think they're common law married at this point.
Right. So back on Earth, a couple of months go by, several months go by, and they're getting adjusted to their new lives. But her marriage to Richard starts to have problems, and it eventually ends up in them separating in January of 2007.
I wonder why.
So I know they get back in July. So about 6 months later, her and Richard separate. Maybe because Richard found out about William. I don't know. Something. Now, ironically, her relationship with William also cooled around this time.
Oh, really? Okay.
And although she continued to call him almost every day, he started dating someone else, and a woman by the name of Colleen. Shipman. She was also, she was in the Air Force. So she was an officer, basically all nerds dating each other. And it could be.
It's basically a Trekkie convention. Okay,
exactly.
Go on. Yeah.
I mean, it could be that William was like, well, what are we doing here? Like, are you going to get a divorce?
I mean, I get that.
But he met Colleen, and he liked Colleen so much that he told Lisa about her. So he broke it off with Lisa.
Okay.
Lisa said she took the news well, because he was like, we can still be friends, because obviously they should be friends. They've been doing this for 2.5 years at least now. Yeah, and they went to space together. So he thought Lisa took it well. And he said we can remain friends. But Colleen thought it was kind of weird. I don't know how much he told Colleen, but she thought it was weird that Lisa's bike. So Lisa would do that thing where, I don't know if you watch Fleabag, where she would leave something at his house.
Yes, I did watch Fleabag, and I did have a friend who would do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an old tactic, right? Mm-hmm. Like dating tactic. So you have an excuse to see them. But Colleen was uncomfortable with Lisa's bike being there, and I'm pretty sure she found other stuff that belonged to Lisa.
Like her bra and her underwear. Yeah, go on.
So she asked William to get Lisa to remove it. And I mean, Lisa's got to be like, your relationship is over. And also, you are married. But at this point, she's just like, just when I'm free, now we're not together.
Yeah.
It could be that. Who knows?
I mean, yeah.
Now, to complicate even, so that's on her personal life. So on her professional life, even though she's this, celebrated astronaut, NASA announced that Stephanie, the sister that went to space with them, had been chosen as the mission specialist for the STS-120 mission to replace Michael Foreman.
Okay.
Basically an assignment that Lisa had hoped for.
Okay.
But according to one source, Stephanie was chosen because she was, quote, she was a team player and well-deserving. Nowak was not, end quote.
Ah, okay.
So sounds like Lisa's a little prickly.
I think maybe that's a good way of phrasing it.
Or maybe just stressed because she was juggling a husband and a boyfriend.
I mean, that is a lot. And 2 kids. My God, I can't.
And training to be an astronaut as well.
No, I don't. I need a break. I need a vacation from what you just said. Okay.
Exactly. So apparently all of this led to stress. She started spiraling. And, personal life seeming to go down. I think honestly, she's a high achiever. This is the first time in her life that things have not been working out for her. That
she didn't get exactly what she wanted.
Exactly. And at this point, she's in her 30s and she's a celebrated astronaut. Like, hey, girl, if I was an astronaut, I'd be walking around stunting on everybody. I'd have like my astronaut like outfit. People wear scrubs if they're a doctor. I'd be wearing my outfit everywhere.
You'd have your helmet like on you holding it.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to act. So, but it sounds like this is the first time things have just not worked out for Lisa. So she started spiraling and she started fixating. And she put all her focus, attention, anxiety, and increasing bitterness on Colleen, the new girlfriend. So on February 4th, 2007. So again, this happened really quickly. So she separated from her husband in January 2007. But William had started dating Colleen back in late 2016, but he told Lisa about it in early 2007.
You mean probably late 2006?
2006, yes. I'm sorry. And told Lisa about it in early 2007. So I'm imagining all of this is happening like it's all condensed. So it seems like it's all happening at once to her, right?
Right. I get that.
So she started fixating on Colleen. So on February 4th, 2007, Lisa Nowak packed latex gloves, a black wig, a BB pistol, ammunition, pepper spray, a trench coat, a drilling hammer, an 8-inch folding knife, and other items.
This is literally a rocket scientist. Okay, go on.
This is a kill kit. Okay,
this is a kill kit. That's a kill kit. I've seen Dexter. I know what you need.
She got into her husband's car and drove 900 miles from Houston to Orlando, Florida.
Of course, it happened in Florida.
Of course, it happened in Florida to confront Colleen. The next day, on February 5th, she went to the Orlando International Airport and waited for about half an hour for Colleen's plane to land. But there was some mix up with Colleen, so she was delayed. Some luggage stuff, some baggage stuff. So she was delayed. But when she finally got everything sorted, this is Colleen, she took a shuttle bus to the parking area to pick up her own car.
Okay.
Colleen would later say that she became aware of someone following her to the airport satellite parking area. When she got into her car, she heard running footsteps.
Oh my God.
And quickly got into the car and locked the door.
Hell yeah.
Just in time for Lisa. It's like a scene from a movie to like slap the window like, ah.
You can't have my man or any of my mans. I have so many mans, but they're all mine.
But can you imagine that? She knows what she looks like because she's a famous astronaut.
Yeah.
And she has a bad wig. You know, she got the wig from Party City.
You know it was on sale. Okay.
And she was just like, ugh. So she's at the window and Colleen's like, what the hell is going on? And then she says she tried to open the door. When that didn't work, Lisa asked her, "Oh, I need a ride." So it's like a roller coaster of emotions. I just need a ride.
Yeah.
And then
I don't give rides.
And then Lisa started crying.
Oh my God.
So it's like, I just need a ride.
Oh my God.
It's just like a lot's going on. So
I would like to play Lisa in the TV movie of this just for that moment. That would be so fun.
Oh my God. Now, Colleen, both of these people are highly, highly intelligent, skilled, accomplished people.
Yeah.
Colleen did something so dumb. Like somebody shows up with a wig and a trench coat like they're Inspector Gadget and trying to get into my car. I was just like, I would just drive away immediately.
I would drive away.
No, Colleen rolls down the window a few inches.
What?
And Lisa sprays her with pepper spray.
Of course she does. What?
Thankfully, it didn't work. So Colleen was able to drive off and she immediately called the cops. I guess Lisa didn't have a backup plan, even though this woman's literally an astronaut. And she didn't really think this thing through because
like 2 or 3 master's degrees. Okay.
Right. So she's like several OPD airport division officers arrive minutes later with the first officers observing her throwing a bag in the trash at the parking shuttle bus. Like, there's cameras around.
I just want to point out that she is doing this in the parking lot of an airport. If there's ever a place you're going to be in which the police can arrive immediately, it's an airport. Okay.
Oh my God. So she's like trying to throw away the evidence. Like, girl, just get into the getaway car and leave and throw the evidence out there.
Don't be like, let me see if I can haul this over into this trash right here.
No, she's dilly-dallying around the airport and they arrested her. They arrested her on charges of attempted kidnapping, battery, attempted vehicle burglary with a battery, and destruction of evidence.
Well, she did that.
So apparently Colleen had a handwritten request for a restraining order against Lisa after her arrest. And in it, she referred to an acquaintance of her boyfriend, but did not identify William. She claimed that Lisa had been stalking her for 2 months. Probably. Lisa told investigators she was involved in a relationship with William. This is what Lisa told them when they confronted her, which she described as being, quote, more than a working relationship, but less than a romantic relationship. So she's still equivocating. Like, but citing evidence of an elaborate planning, disguises, and weapons, police recommended she be held without bail. So she was.
I agree. Okay.
Now, 2 fellow astronauts, can you imagine somebody calls you about this on me? So they're trying to help their friend. So they appeared before the judge on Lisa's behalf.
Don't do this shit. I don't want that phone call. I mean,
if I will
go to court and I will speak on your behalf, but I don't want to, I guess
I need you to do that for me, but I also need you to come and find me and clown the hell out of me.
Girl, you know you're going to look good. I got glitter. It's going to be great.
You need to come and be like, Inspector Gadget? Really? Okay. This is what we're doing.
I'll be like, well, you did your research. I'm here for you.
Okay. So almost done here. So they came and they appeared before her on her behalf. And basically her attorney in the pre-trial release, they remarked that her good work should count for something. She's an astronaut. Yes. Right. Okay. So the judge was like, so Lisa was ordered to be released on $15,000 bail under the condition that she wore a tracking device and had no contact with Colleen.
Okay. But
before she could be released, OPD, Orlando Police Department, charged her with attempted first-degree murder and announced that she would not be released on bail.
I mean, Yeah.
I mean, yeah. This is the one time the OPD got it right.
I was just going to say, I'm agreeing with Florida cops right now, and I don't know how to feel about that. I rarely do. Here we are.
So in the first arraignment, her lawyers pushed back that she had already been granted bail, and they pressed. So the serious charges was just to keep her in there. So in the second arraignment, she was charged with attempted first-degree murder with a deadly weapon. So the judge raised the bail by $10,000 in addition. So just a higher bail, and she posted it.
I was going to say, she's probably got that money.
Yeah. Especially, I would imagine that they had like endorsement deals after coming back from space and and then Colleen surprisingly dropped the protection order on February 15th. I feel like William probably talked to her.
Yeah. I don't know what he said though, because I wouldn't do that. I would be like, yes, forever you can go nowhere near me.
Again, like it would be, because you could think maybe she just had a momentary lapse in judgment because she is like this decorated astronaut.
You know what? That's fine. But when it comes to me and my body, you can stay away and go live the rest of your life. That's fine.
If it was me, I was like, listen, you want to solve this out like women outside? You want to go toe to toe with me? None of this disguises. Let's do this, girl. Let's do it. That's kind of bitch I am now.
Okay.
A few months later.
I'm not like that. Like I run away. Okay.
No, I totally. Especially if you don't come after me in a bad wig. Come on, girl. We got to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, a few months later, in April of 2007, Florida prosecutors released more materials in the case. So this is how we know about her. So the previous week, the judge had agreed to unseal some of the documents about the items found in Lisa's car after her arrest.
Okay.
Among them were handwritten notes on USS Nimitz stationery listing Colleen's flight information on one flight controller's log paper listing, including sneakers, plastic gloves, contacts, cash, an umbrella, and black sweats, a floppy disk that contained photos of Lisa riding in a bicycle race, and 15 images depicting an unidentified woman in different stages of undress.
Oh my God. She's okay. Yeah, no, you can go nowhere near me, not ever. Okay.
Now, and also other items that were listed were photographs and drawings depicting scenes of bondage.
Okay. That's not good. That's bad.
Along with more cash, 4 brown paper bags with 69 orange pills that were not publicly identified.
Okay.
2 flash drives, USB flash drives found in the car. They contained family pictures, digital movies, and NASA-related materials. Investigators concluded the info on the disk and USB drives did not have any direct relationship to the kidnapping attempt. And it made me think of the classified documents.
Oh my God. Yep.
So everybody has them. Now
everyone has them. It's a thing.
Now, back when Lisa and William were having an affair, he provided her with a cell phone to contact her.
Okay.
Phone records show that she called him at least 12 times and sent 7 different text messages the day after he returned from his space shuttle flight. So he got into town in December. So she had heard about Colleen. So basically they're showing a pattern of her just calling. Again, you got a husband, girl. Simmer down. Simmer down. William, when he talked to authorities, he said that he and Lisa had broken up, and he did think that she took it well, but he did admit that he had lunch with her in his apartment at least once in January, and they continued to train together for the bicycle race. And they went to the gym together. So he's thinking everything's cool. He's thinking she's a cool chick because he's a dude and he doesn't realize how this works.
No, he does not.
Also, on May 11th, 2007, authorities released surveillance video from the airport terminal showing Lisa waiting for about an hour.
Okay.
And then putting on the trench coat and following Colleen after she had followed her to baggage claim.
You know, if there's one thing that will clue me in that someone is stalking me, it is if they've put on a trench coat and then started walking behind me. That's, I know then to ask for help.
At a pretrial hearing held on July 17th of that year. They moved fast in this case.
Yeah.
Further, at further hearings, her defense argued that first they were going to try the insanity plea.
Okay.
And because according to documents submitted by her lawyer, her lawyer. Oh my God. Lawyer. I can do it. I did it before. Lisa was
You literally speak for a living. Anyways.
Oh my God. Oh God.
It's okay. La 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 la.
Lisa was evaluated by two psychiatrists who diagnosed her with obsessive compulsive personality disorder, Asperger's syndrome, and they said that she had a single episode of major depressive disorder and a brief psychotic disorder with marked stressors. So basically, she snapped.
Yeah. Okay.
So she has. I could see the obsessive compulsive personality disorder and Asperger's, because she strikes me as maybe being. Sometimes really, really smart people are like that. Like she's so driven, and she was a nerd, a math and science nerd before that was cool.
And it does like it helps you get it done. You know, like you have that drive and that focus.
Yeah, but it also. The borderline, the compulsive disorder, the obsessive, that is like that would explain her relationships with William when he broke it off, and like she just started to spiral, and so at first they were like, we're going to plead insanity, but on May 15th of 2009 it was reported that she would not if her case went to trial. So the trial was scheduled for December 7th, 2009, but it didn't happen.
Oh, why not?
She decided to plead it out. So she pled guilty to felony burglary and misdemeanor battery as part of a plea deal. She was sentenced to a year's probation and 2 days already served in jail with no additional jail time. 2 years later, in 2011, she petitioned the court to seal the record of her criminal proceedings, citing harm to her family and their livelihood. And the motion was granted because obviously the military frowns upon this kind of behavior.
I hope so, honestly.
So after that whole incident of her trying to kill. Oh, and I just want to remind you. So she was known as the woman who wore adult diapers to drive and kill her sexual rival.
Wait,
this is the woman.
So when she drove 900 miles, she did not stop and she peed in a diaper?
She peed in a diaper.
See, here's what I'm going to say. I know it was like insanity or she snapped, but like she walked into Party City. She walked down the aisles. Excuse me, ma'am. Where are the wigs? You know, and it's over there, ma'am. Thank you so much. And then picked the wig. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have adult diapers at this store? What aisle are they on? Like, this is a little premeditation going on.
Maybe I shouldn't say adult diapers. I have a feeling they were astronaut, like what astronauts use.
Astronaut adult diapers.
Diapers. So she's notorious. A diaper's a diaper. She's notorious for this because I remember when people talked about this, they were like, "Did you hear about the astronaut who wore adult diapers?" Like,
it's so funny because you said I knew her, and I'm listening to the story and was like, something familiar, and then you're like, she got in a car and drove, and I was like, oh my God, this feels
the adult diapers,
like, well, there's a far away memory, but it's there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so the Navy was like, say what now? So they had been chomping at the bit to get to her after all of this broke. So they insisted that they were waiting for like the non military law to take its course, and so to deal with them. So they insisted that Lisa and William be returned to the Navy from NASA. Because again, NASA is the non-military wing, right? Even though it's got a military pipeline. So because of that, the Navy said, because they had violated Navy's rules of prohibiting adultery, because that was part of their rules. Yeah.
Okay.
they wanted to take further action. So she did receive, prior to that, though, she did receive the Spaceflight Medal in 2006, because again, she's a celebrated astronaut. But a naval board of inquiry consisting of some top officials voted on April 19, 2010 to recommend that she be separated from the Navy with an other than honorable discharge. So it wasn't dishonorable. It was it was other than honorable discharge.
I like that they have a neutral discharge.
Yeah, and a reduction in rank. I think it affects their pension, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
But don't try to kill someone and that won't happen.
I know. And a reduction in rank from captain to commander. She retired from the Navy with other than, like I said, honorable discharge in September of 2011. So that's why when she petitioned to have it, the court seal her record, because I would imagine that would affect her. Because nowadays she could just have a reality show, but in 2011 this would be harmful. This would be bad press.
She would be like, now it's good
and I would
press.
watch the hell out of it. I ain't gonna even lie, I'm that basic. Like, if she had a reality show, I totally would watch it.
I watch all of Love is Blind. I cannot judge.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on a personal note, she and Richard did divorce. It became final in 2008, and she was given full custody of their 3 children. Now, in 2017...
She was given full custody of their children after trying to kill somebody?
I think that because of her previous... and I could see this. Like, I don't know what her state of mind afterwards. I don't know if afterwards when she snapped out of it, she was like, oh my God, and mortified that she...
And maybe she got help. Like, we don't know, but maybe she was like, let me fix this. Let me not have this happen again. Yeah, people can change. People can grow. I like that.
But also, because it's so insane, she must have just snapped.
Yeah.
Like, she just had and not like she didn't know what she was doing, but she just had girl, what are you doing? You know, we all need snap out of it. Man,
she had to walk down the aisle and pick the wig. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
she had to be I need a good bag for this
but
trip.
You know what?
Again,
she is a highly successful human being up to this point. I think there's a part when everything's gone basically the way that you've planned.
Yeah.
There's a big part of you that doesn't quite understand that not doing the right thing also has consequences, because she's been doing the right thing since she was a kid, right?
Interesting point of view, actually. Yeah.
I'm not making excuses for her, but I just feel like it seems out of character.
It does seem out of character.
The fact that she had the hammer and the thing, I'm so glad she didn't get a hold, because I actually think she would have harmed Colleen had she gotten a hold of her in that moment. I do think that. I absolutely do think that. But I also think that afterwards, and perhaps that's why, William talked to Colleen's drop it. Afterwards, when she really realized what she almost had done, she's probably thankful that she wasn't able to do it. And it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm hoping, I'm just assuming, but that is my hope. And perhaps because she had that kind of attitude with the people in her personal life, that she was able to get custody of her children. In 2017, People magazine reported that she was living quietly in Texas and she was working in the private sector. Her attorney also stated that she was doing well in 2007. So I'm hoping that it was a temporary kind of
Yeah. We have to forget, we do have to forgive and allow people to grow.
And have grace for people and ourselves.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting. Going back real quick to Gwen Shamblin's story, people who were sort of victimized, or who, let's say, allegedly, spoke as to how they were victimized by this place, alleged cult. They talk about how people judge us for falling for it, and they're and it's you have to have grace for that in order to grow and be able to do better and get better. So
Yeah, and again, I'm not
I can get
making
behind
excuses for this because I do think she would have hurt Colleen, but I think it's also important to be like, I've done things, and I think the longer you live life, I've done things, not obviously not trying to kill people, and get in a car and drive, 400 miles.
You
But
want
like,
to tell
I've
me
done
what
things,
Lavetta?
I know. I've done things and I'm like, what was I smoking? Like, what is wrong with you, girl? Like, that's why you need people in your life that you listen to that'll be like, no, that's a terrible idea.
Yes. Yes.
But you also have to listen to those people.
You do. And you have to be open to the idea that maybe you don't always have the best ideas.
Yeah, we see celebrities all the time tweeting stuff that they should just log off. Like, it's like, no, girl, this ain't it. Like,
no.
Like, why did you send this? Like, and in the moment, they're like, yeah, I'm going to kill him with this. And then they get canceled for some stupidity. Some stupid thing they've said, and then they feel like they have to double down. A lot of people have caught themselves like, because people respond negatively and then they double down, and it's like, no. And then later on they're like, oh yeah, I was tripping. Like, but Lisa was doing a little bit more than tripping. But as you can imagine, her story has been adapted for television. Obviously, Law and Order has covered it.
I'm ready. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna.
Of course, a 2008 song called "Road Trip" talks about it. A Astra music video, "I Love You More Than You Love Yourself," is references this whole thing with Lisa Nowak. And I guess the lead singer played the role of Lisa in the video. So it kind of like, videos like, it's like,
oh, I'm going to watch that right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that is called, it's 2017 Astra music video for "I Love You More Than You Love Yourself." And just numerous other things. Also in 2019, in a film, Lucy in the Sky, Natalie Portman, starred in it, produced it, and it's loosely based on Lisa Nowak's story. So,
oh my God, I have to watch that.
Oscar winner, Natalie Portman doing. So,
yeah.
That is Lisa Nowak, the astronaut who wore adult diapers to go and kill her romantic rival. You're welcome.
Amazing. Thank you.
You are welcome. So I guess that wraps it up for another episode of Notorious Women Podcast. Guys, remember to follow us on all the things. Remember to share our podcast also. Share, we always say copy. Go to your podcast listener of choice app, whether it be Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Copy it and then text it, email it to your friends so they can just click on it and get them to download, subscribe. We love subscribers. Also, if you want to support us, so we can continue doing this and doing even more things and bringing you some extra content, you can become a patron on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Notorious Women. And Miriam's going to tell you how you can contact us via email and IG.
Well, that's right. Okay, so email is notoriouswmpod@gmail.com. We also have IG, which is so easy. It's Notorious Women Podcast. You can also DM us if that's easier in this day and age, if you will. Come join us on Instagram. It's a good time. We have fun with it. And if you have any thoughts, ideas, or reactions, email. Let us know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you guys. Again, we appreciate you always listening and downloading and sharing us with your friends and family and loved ones. And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.